Zach Johnson, producer, back in the bullpen. I am your host, Doug Zook, and I believe we have our author of The Blind Visionary, Virginia Jacko, joining us. Good morning, Virginia. How are you today?
Good morning, Doug. I'm great, and it's great to be hearing somebody back at home in Indiana.
Yeah, you're a Purdue lady, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and I'm a Hoosier, too.
Oh, were you born in Indiana?
No, but I spent 24 years in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh, okay. You know, I had a chance to kind of look over your bio, and it did catch my eye that you're a Purdue, you spent 24 years at Purdue University. Exactly what did you do at Purdue?
I worked my way up on the business side of the university, ultimately becoming the fiscal manager for the president and the provost.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while you were working at Purdue, and you had a very successful career at Purdue University, you realized that something was changing with your eyesight, correct?
Yes, I was slowly losing my vision.
And you had a disease called retinitis pigmentosa, right?
That's right. Yes, Doug.
So what happens when this happens? I mean, is it a gradual loss or is it pretty abrupt? What happens during the process?
It is so slow that at first you do not even realize what is happening. Imagine your vision being like a donut hole, and that hole slowly starts to close. And so someone might be standing on my left side, and I might not see them, and yet I could read small print on a spreadsheet, because you read with your central vision.
Wow. So this, before you went, when you realized that I guess the best way is, what was the time frame from when you first realized there was a change to when you were actually had lost your eyesight? How long was that?
Well, Doug, remember when we used to have mainframe computing, and everyone had to go to the main computing center to get their printed material, and it was on a light green paper.
Right.
And I was starting to think, they don't change their ribbons enough. There's just not enough contrast here. And then I was getting a promotion at Purdue, and I thought, I really need to go and see an eye doctor and get some glasses. But over the period of many years, I had many, many misdiagnoses. So I stopped driving in 1995. And around that time, I learned the diagnosis that it was retinitis pigmentosa, which leads to total blindness. But I kept that a secret because I felt like, there's a lot of people that would like my job. I don't want anyone to know I have a weak link in my armor. And I did that for quite a long time, even though when I look back, I know there were times when I wasn't really fooling anybody.
If you're just joining us on News Talk 1240 WHBU, Virginia Jacko, the author of the book The Blind Visionary. And how did you initially cope with the dramatic change?
Well, the good news, the change wasn't very dramatic. It was very subtle, and I kept adjusting. And so that also made me, as a visually impaired and now totally blind person, I have great eye contact. And if you were to see me in person, you'd say, I'm not so sure she's blind, because I worked really hard at my public speaking and at countenance, which is so important because it is a sighted world. But I'll share with you one story in that I was getting ready to have a staff meeting. This was probably maybe in the late 90s. And my brother, who's a professor in Bloomington, he's a beer drinker, and he came to West Lafayette to visit us, and he brought with his beer, because we don't drink beer. Now, it's Monday morning, and I'm going to have a brown bag lunch with all of my staff. And I go in the refrigerator, I slap together a sandwich and throw in a can of Coke, I thought. And so now it's lunchtime, and in the conference room there in the Hovde Hall, I put my sandwich down, I take out my supposedly Coke, and then I go and I talk to the provost for a while, during which time all of the people that reported to me came into the conference room. And I walk back in, unbeknownst to me, that's a can of Bud sitting on the table. Oh, good morning, staff. How's everyone today? Let's go around the room and everyone give us an update for the week. And the person sitting next to me was one of my direct reports. He was a business manager for Purdue Library System. And the first thing he said was, Virginia, I didn't think we could drink beer on campus. And, of course, at Purdue, you don't drink beer on campus if you're an employee. It's different maybe if there's a football game and someone is tailgating. And I was like, oh, this morning I didn't turn on the lights. I was in such a hurry. I just didn't even take time to look. Oh, my goodness, shame on me. And I put the beer away. So there are many times where I had to cover up a kind of a faux pas.
You're now the CEO of and president of the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Talk a little bit about what you do today.
Well, as the president and CEO of the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind, I spend a lot of time on board development, board governance. I spend time on strategies. The Miami Lighthouse, its revenue has more than doubled since I began as CEO in 2005. The number of clients we serve have increased 7-fold. And a lot is about relationships and meeting people, whether it's going to Tallahassee, talking to legislators, talking to donors. Under my leadership, we received the 2 largest single individual donations, one for $1 million and the other for $2 million. And it all has to do with relationships, which is one of the takeaways in the book. The first lesson is reach out aggressively. And that's something that I do try to do every day.
On the cover of your book, there is a wonderful picture of you, and I am a dog lover. Anyone knows I have 2 dogs, Annabelle and Thelma Lou. You have a beautiful, looks like a retriever on the cover of the book with you.
He is a yellow lab. He is from Guiding Eyes for the Blind in Yorktown Heights, New York. And okay. He is my eyes.
He is your eyes.
Yes. So a guide dog is an obstacle avoider. A cane is an obstacle finder. And so with a cane, you got to go tap, tap, tap and find that obstacle before you fall off the curbing. But a guide dog is trained to stop at a curbing so that you know you're in an intersection.
How long have you 2 been a team?
Well, actually, the sad story is the dog on the cover passed away a few weeks ago. Oh. And I am right now using my white cane waiting for a new guide dog. And so...
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Doug, thank you for saying that. It's another bump in the road of the journey of life.
Wow, Virginia, I'm very sorry to hear that. If you're just joining us, Virginia Jacko, the author of the book, The Blind Visionary, joining us, a former executive with Purdue University and now the president and CEO of the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And Virginia, how long did it take to put the book together?
About a year. We began the book in December 2 years ago, and the book was completed this past December.
It sounds to me, and what the information I've been able to read on your biography and everything I've been able to find, that you are a person that is totally upbeat about life and everything. What is the inner core for your strength?
Well, we really have 2 choices in life. We can be positive or we can be negative. And it's just not fun hanging around negative energy, which we can produce. So I try always to see, and one might say, is she a Pollyanna? No. Of course there's times that one is frustrated. There's times that one wishes that they had their eyesight. But there are so many worse things. At a place like the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind, a blind person can learn how to use any computer system made by Microsoft. I do all my own emails, my own Word documents, Excel spreadsheets. And so by staying active, by staying positive, one does have a fuller life.
We may have somebody in our listening audience this morning, and I'm sure we do, who might be dealing with the situation today, what you dealt with leading up to your current situation. What advice do you have for those folks?
If a person is visually impaired, whether we're talking about a young child that will be totally blind, or maybe a senior that only has macular degeneration. By the way, you typically never go legally blind with something like macular degeneration. It's just annoying. What one needs to do is get the skills that they can remain independent. Because too often other family members thinking that they're being helpful help too much and take away your independence. Or as one ages, I see this too often, family members think, oh, you know, Mom, it's time for you to go into a retirement assisted living community. And often these people are not ready to do that. So if they get the skills that they need, and I'll tell you, you can get great computer skills there in Indianapolis. You can get your independent living skills at the Bosma Center. So reach out and get the skills that you need so you can remain independent.
Virginia, the book, The Blind Visionary, if someone's interested in purchasing it, where can they pick up a copy?
Okay, you can go to the website, which is www.theblindvisionary.com, all one word. Or if you are doing Kindle, for example, you can go to Amazon and download the book, or you can get it print from Amazon. You can also go to the Miami Lighthouse website, which is www.miamilighthouse.org. So those are three possibilities.
Well, I would like to offer you an open invitation the next time you come back to Indiana. Hopefully you could swing by Anderson and we can have you live in studio.
Well, I'm actually going to be there this coming weekend. Are you on the air on the weekend?
I am not. No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Well, then we'll make another date, Doug, okay?
I would love it. I really would. And I wish you well, and I hope that your new guide dog will be in your possession soon.
Thank you so much, Doug, and I love all you Hoosiers.
Okay.
And that means anybody from Indiana.